Hello again, vets. Rick Seaman here for another segment of the Veterans Nation Show on Veterans TV Network. I'm joined once again by Gloria O'Brien. She's TDY from the Veterans TV Hour show. Also, my special guest today is Mikal Vega from the Vital Warrior Organization. We recently did a segment with Mr. Bruce Wiseman. He was from the Citizens Committee on Human Rights. Mikal, I'm told you've been working with that organization recently.
Yeah, we have a common mission.
A common mission, right. Yeah. The topic we discussed with Mr. Weissman was the poorly managed program the VA uses to drug, numb, and anesthetize veterans with post-combat stress as well as other ailments. I'd like to read this page regarding our guest, Mikal. In his own words, he says, "I made it through combat, firefights. I got blown up by an IED, which broke my neck. I made it through all of that, and when I came home, they almost killed me with cocktails of psychiatric pills." Mikal weaned himself off of those psychiatric drugs and founded an organization called Vital Warrior, a 501c3 that utilizes non-pharmaceutical methodologies to help veterans and their families recover from wartime trauma. Mikal, I'm sorry.
It's all right.
First, I'd like to say
thanks. Happens a lot.
Happens a lot, yeah. First, I'd like to say thanks for your service and welcome home.
Well, thank you for yours.
Thank you for being
We
here.
all appreciate everything you guys have done.
Of course, it was an honor to serve.
Yes. Let's just start with active duty. You've been injured. You're hospitalized. Where did it go from there?
Well, initially, it was during my first tour in Iraq. I was hit by that roadside IED. It caused that severe trauma to the C5 vertebra, and they think it was a fracture. And that didn't really present itself until about 5 years later, and I did another deployment to Iraq and another workup in preparation to deploy, and then I got transferred to Coronado, California for instructor duty. And that's when everything started to manifest. I was having a hard time dealing with a lot of issues that seemed exasperated by these pills that they started putting me on. The first thing they put me on was Adderall. Adderall is an amphetamine, and they utilized that to help me sleep.
That's interesting.
I was up for 4 days at a pop, and literally 4 days. That's not an exaggeration. People that know that were working with me during that time will corroborate that. And when you don't sleep, you have a disconnection from what's real and what's not real. That's compounded by these medications, and then of course it's also a gateway for psychiatry to give you more medications, which they did. I started taking antidepressants, and then when you go in and you say that those antidepressants, I don't feel good. Okay, increase your dose. And then you increase the dose, and then you have another symptom show up, and then they give you a pill for that symptom. And then you do that for a while, and then they go, okay, let's try something different. And then they give you a totally new pill. So you're having symptoms of coming off the old pill while you're getting on another pill, and pretty soon you're on 13, up to some veterans are on like 28 different pills. Then I had surgery to rectify, because I started getting to where I couldn't lift my arm without using my back. I lost all my grip strength in the right side, and went in and had it checked out, and they go, oh yeah, it looks like you fractured your neck, and when it healed back, it clamped off the nerve root. So they went and did surgery, so then I'm on painkillers as well. So amphetamines, painkillers, opiates, all that stuff. So, and then sleeping, sleeping pills. Those are just the worst.
Right.
They give me.
Did you feel at any point along the way, and maybe it was hard to decipher what was really going on, really happening to you, but did you ever feel like, why am I getting all the pills? Why aren't I getting
Not initially.
regular treatment?
Okay, so here's the thing, Rick. When veterans go in, they're presented with somebody they've never met before. They're told to go see the shrink or the psych. Psychology's cool. Psychiatry's not, as far as my opinion. I think that I saw a combat psychologist that really did some good work and was totally against the pills and everything. It was the right path. But when you start getting wrapped up with big Navy, you start going to, the regular flow. You go into the pipeline of psychiatry. And what's their pipeline? Well, you sit down, you're talking to some junior officer that's trying to cut their teeth and make a name for themselves and get their next rank. And so a Navy SEAL with combat-related stress is juicy for them, I'd imagine. It's great for their resume.
Yeah.
And so within 40 minutes, I mean, literally you walk into the place, they're picking up a pen and starting to write a prescription. And it's just abysmal. And that is the status quo. That's my experience. Maybe somebody else has something else, another experience. Everything I'm talking about here is my experience.
Right.
And my experience is that I was a petri dish, that they were using me to see what worked, see what didn't work. They tried to put me into, and it's a vicious type thing, because you go in there and you don't know what's going on, and you think something's wrong with you. And that's what they depend on, is that for you to think that something's wrong with you when nothing is wrong with you. You're actually having, if you're in combat-related stress or having a post-traumatic stress disorder, it's not actually a disorder. It's fictitious. It's made up by psychiatry. It's a normal physiological response to abnormal conditions.
Sure.
That's what it is. Overactive adrenal system leads to depletion of serotonin in the brain, because you need to make melatonin to suppress the adrenal system so you can get into stage 3 and 4 sleep and rebalance your hormone system. If you have an overactive hormonal system, then your adrenals require more melatonin to suppress it. And eventually that robs the brain supply of serotonin. Serotonin is the body's feel-good hormone. If you have low serotonin, what do you got? What are the symptoms? Insomnia, irritability, cognitive deficit, memory loss, which just so happen to be the top symptoms of PTSD. Mm-hmm. There's no coincidence. It's by design.
Right.
So they had me pretty drugged up there, and invariably it led to I started having a drug-induced cardiac arrest while I was out on San Clemente Island. I didn't die. I was laying there, like the students came up to me. They were like, "Chief, you look gray. What's wrong with you? You're." I was like, "I think I'm dying." I had all this chest pain, and I was like, I could barely breathe. And I was walking upstairs, and I just laid down, and it went away. Thankfully,
Yeah.
But something in me sparked. Something in me, was like, I just got rageful. It was just, I finally felt something, because I couldn't feel anything. It was a feeling that I was in a place that was devoid of emotion. It was the most empty, hollow feeling, being on those pills. It was like those pills plugged away my soul, and so I had enough. And I started to do things that made me feel better, And I went back to some of these modalities that we'll go into a little bit later. But and I started getting myself off the pills.
Yeah.
So that's it in a nutshell.
What I hear here is something that I've mentioned before. You know, a lot of us were tough in battle. And in Mikal's case, he learned that he had to be tough coming out too, and tough to face what was going on. Mikal has told us about a somewhat of a solution to this problem. He's got an organization that he's put together. We're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we're going to hear about that. See you in a minute.
Welcome home, man.
All right, we're back. Gloria, Mikal Vega, and I have to say hello to my fearless sound girl over here, Alicia. She's sitting in for us today. Everything going well there?
Excellent, thank you.
Hey, as long as we can hear it, you're doing good. All right. Okay, so.
So Mikal, tell us about your organization, Vital Warrior, and what you do. What's your objective? What are you accomplishing?
That's a pretty vast question.
Big
but
question.
I'll
Do your
try
best.
to I'll try to keep it
What are the most important
encapsulated.
things to tell us about?
Vital Warrior is a byproduct of me engaging upon that quest for self-healing. And I started with something called myofascial release. I alluded to all this before the break. And I started with something called myofascial release, which is a really deep tissue work. And it was something that I had always used to enhance my performance, but it also had the side effect of lowering my stress response. And it always made me feel relaxed. So that's what I went to first. From there, I discovered acupuncture. And I went and did acupuncture and tried it out and loved it. So I started doing that. And from acupuncture, I found yoga, like Bikram's yoga. I liked it because it was like a good stiff kick in the nuts, like some little 5-foot girl kicking my ass. If you haven't tried it, go try it. I'm telling you, you're in this hot box and you're PTing in this hot box basically. And there, you're in a Spartan type environment when they're like, okay, your only goal is don't leave the room. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that gets my interest. I'm like, okay, the challenge, so we're going to do this. And so I started that. And then there was still something missing, as I started coming off these drugs. And I got off of myself. So what I did was I titrated, how much I was taking. And then I'd wait until I started feeling like this brain buzz or like nauseous or something. And I'd take another one, and which is very dangerous, by the way. I don't recommend going that route. Use a doctor's supervision if you're getting off pills. And we'll get into more of that in a little bit. So then I started looking for, as I started coming off the pills, I started replacing those pills with these different modalities. So I'd start using them back to back. And eventually I found meditation. And through meditation, I found something called Kundalini energy. And Kundalini energy just is the creative energy that George Lucas was talking about, the force, is the way I equate it. It's just, it's very powerful and very real, actually. Not like he portrayed it, obviously, but it is very much present in all of us.
It's your inner strength, your inner thoughts.
It's our pure source. It's who we truly are. and it's the creative force that binds all things. Sounds kind of familiar, right?
Yeah.
So Kundalini Yoga is what I sought out, and I found Kundalini Yoga, and that has been the most challenging part of this whole journey, because it is truly the spiritual quest, and it's a warrior-based system, and it was developed throughout the centuries by warriors, all warriors. So it's not the stuff when you think yoga, it's not the the stuff that you.
The housewife at the gym.
It's not the skinny white girl stuff.
Right?
It's not the skinny white girl
So
stuff.
this is nothing new for combat vets.
Which yoga?
I mean, what you
Kundalini
just said,
yoga?
it came from the warriors.
Oh no! This was.
It's
and
been
see,
around.
here's the thing. You bring up a great point, and I just want to say something. One of my purposes is to dissolve those stigmas associated around the word yoga and spirit and meditation. Throughout history, warrior cultures have all embraced that because they understood the importance of cultivating a creative force to offset the destructive forces that they wield downrange. We, and as a more modern day society of warriors, have somehow lost that. And so much so that we think it's weak. We think it's feminine. We think it's, it doesn't serve us. When the warrior cultures that we model ourselves after, the Spartans, the American Indian, the samurai, all understood that importance, and they used creativity to balance those destructive forces, because when we go downrange, we are very powerful and effective at bringing that destructive force upon that enemy. But when we come home, we have nothing to turn to. We have no enemy. So what happens is that destructive force turns inward, and we create an enemy within ourselves. And that is what is destroying us. And it is also what psychiatry depends upon to keep pumping us full of pills, to keep us from realizing the strength that we have culminated through these experiences of combat. And that if they just leave us alone, the body would sort itself out, and we'd be able to incorporate those events into who we are, gaining a strength that we never would have had otherwise.
I was listening to you there, and when you were describing, the positive processes that you were applying to yourself, and that you're now applying to others. And I'm listening, and I feel like a lot of positive energy, and I was feeling really warm and fuzzy by what you were saying. You got to one word, I became instantly angry when you said the word psychiatrist. I wanted to turn this fucking table over.
Yeah.
Where's the fix?
Okay.
What does the VA need to know? What does our Senate and House need to know? Because this ain't an old problem. This has been around.
It's been around. And here's the thing. They do know about it. They already know about it. They already know about the facade of psychiatry. They know about it, but it's money.
Yeah.
Money is driving it. There's a petition that the Citizens Coalition of Human Rights, or Citizens Commission of Human Rights, that they're forwarding for investigating psychiatry in the military, and how it's related to the veteran suicide rates. And if you're interested in finding more about that petition, go to cchr.org/vets, and that is and sign it. It needs to happen. We need to know. Okay. You ask a psychiatrist what physiological proof they base their diagnosis on. Ask them. If you're going into psychiatry, ask them what physiological proof they're basing their diagnosis on. They're not going to have one. They're not going to have an answer for you. If you have cancer, they show you the cancer cells. If you have a broken bone, they show you the x-ray. The bone's broken. You have ADHD, what do they show you? Nothing. That's right. Nothing. Because they've got nothing. It's made up. It's based on conjecture. How else can you make a determination? I mean, even in the best hospitals, they've got to go through a battery of testing, and it takes a while to come up with the diagnosis of what's wrong with you. Happens in the VA and in psychiatry in a 40-minute visit, first time they've ever seen you.
Yeah.
Wow.
How is that accurate? But we buy it because we're in a place of not knowing what's going on, because we aren't educated that it's a physiological response. So know your rights. This is not a disorder. It's a normal physiological function to abnormal conditions. And if you get hormonal balance back, that's what Vital Warrior is about, is reestablishing the vitality inside the warrior and establishing homeostasis through non-pharmaceutical means. You do not have to take those pills in the military anymore. They can order you to go see the shrink, but they can't order you to take the pills. And if you are contemplating on taking the pills, know the drug side effects. There's links on CCHR International's website for the different side effects of the pills. And there's also on vitalwarrior.org's website, there is a tab under the medical tab. It has links to all this stuff. So just go there, check it out, and you'll see what we're talking about.
Now, generally, the side effects on the pills are many times way worse than the conditions you're being treated for. Am I wrong in that?
Well, I mean, death. Yeah, I'd have to agree with you.
Yeah.
Death. These things. And then, again, this is my experience. And I haven't heard anybody out there that I've worked with or seen that have been like, I feel phenomenal now that I'm on these pills.
All right.
Maybe initially, but that goes away.
Yeah.
And then it's actually worse getting off them once you're on them.
It's incredibly difficult to get off of them because of the physiological hold that they have on you. So get informed. Again, you can go to our site and know the drug side effects, and get real medical help first. If you're having issues, don't turn to the pill first. But we did it. I did it. It wasn't first, but when I couldn't sleep for so long, and then you're like, okay, I'll try it. You're desperate because you don't know what's going on. Nobody tested my hormone levels until I got out of the military.
Oh.
Really?
Sure.
I paid for it myself.
Yeah.
And then that found out everything's all out of whack. And then after, a year or so of doing this, completely rebalanced myself. I had my tests done, and this is not an exaggeration. I was told that, wow, your hormone levels are perfect for a 25-year-old Olympiad, is what they told me. And I was like, that's cool. I'll sign up for that. So we're trying to put together, again, resources so we can study that more and get more proof to the medical efficacy of that specific
So by
effect.
doing the types of yoga and the workouts and things that are bringing your dopamine up and all these things start to balance because you're counteracting what has been going on with the stress of combat for so long. It's all just balancing back the
Right.
hormones.
You're coming back into balance. That's what it's all about, is achieving balance. All creation, destruction within the body, mind, the spirit, balance. That's what we want. So seek real medical help first. See if there's you've got lead toxicity or heavy metal poisoning. See if there's, check these other real things out first.
Yeah.
Your diet, what are you eating?
Yeah.
Are you going out drinking every night and eating tacos? Or are you like really trying to eat foods that bolster your immune system and foster healthy sleep patterns? Are you getting vitamin D3? Vitamin D3 is one of the most critical vitamins that you can eat, because you cannot create serotonin if you don't have enough vitamin D3 in your system.
Where do you get that from?
You can get that from a half hour of sunlight a day, or you can supplement it. 5,000 IUs in oil-based form.
D3. But it's not in any foods that we eat?
Oh, it's in foods as well. So again, go to our website. You'll be able to see all that type of stuff.
Yeah.
But you also have to have magnesium so the body can utilize the vitamin D3. And so you can supplement that again and again. We offer In Vital Warrior, these modalities, we offer ways that the body will naturally produce this. That's the whole key, is naturally producing the appropriate levels of hormonal balance so that you can get back into stage 3 and 4 sleep. Stage 3 and 4 sleep is where you repair the mind, where the homeostasis occurs. You can't get into stage 3 and 4 sleep from a sleeping pill. It makes you unconscious. They don't make you sleep, they make you unconscious. That's why it gets worse and worse. So
I got it. So it's like, when they say, if you want to open up a hot dog stand, you open it up right next to another hot dog stand. They're going to buy the best hot dog, right? So we got 2 bars on the city street corner. We got the VA's bar that serves cocktails of psychotropic numbing drugs. We got Mikal's bar that sells natural healing stuff that works. He's going to put them out of business, and I hope you do.
I want to read.
I really hope you do,
because it can really help lives. And
Yeah,
that's
No,
what
it's
this is about.
saving lives.
Yeah,
It's
saving
already saving lives.
Right. But
People
what-
that have done this, it's already saving them.
What we got to do is, through people like Mikal, who's been gracious to come on the show and talk to everybody, is we need a lesson, and we're getting it. We're getting it. Congress needs a lesson. The VA needs a lesson, and just America that doesn't really understand what people like Mikal and myself have come out of the combat world need a lesson. And I suggest everybody gets on this site, check it out, Vital Warrior, and see what's going on. If you need help, that might be the place where you can get it. Mikal, thank you so much. You've been very helpful, and I've learned a lot. I just learned a lot. I got to go and get me some D3.
I was just
get some D3
I was
right
just getting
away,
warmed
man.
up, you know.
All right, for Veterans Network, this is the Veterans Nation Show. Thanks for joining us, and welcome home, everybody.
Welcome home.